Jerry.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
I just wanted to double back and kind of piggyback off what y'all were talking about earlier. I think Tim Walz was actually a great pick for Harris, but I'm just still scratching my head on why we picked J.D. Vance when we had Vic sitting right there. That was just a travesty in my eyes. But Vic.
Vic?
Yeah.
Vivek?
Yeah.
Oh, do people nickname him Vic? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I just call him Vic. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or for me, yeah. I mean,
Oh.
that's who. I mean, I don't know why we didn't go with that, but we ended up not. But anyways,
Probably because he just doesn't get you anything, right? Because the people on the left can't stand him. He's right of Trump, so he would only get you voters that you're already going to get. I think that's probably why they didn't choose.
Yeah, that makes sense. But my big question, this is my big question. I really just can't wrap my head around it. So right now, like Kamala's our Vice President Harris, her main talking point, her running point right now is women's rights, and she's referring to Roe v. Wade, and I just don't think people understand that how it was passed and how it was overturned on her watch, and how possibly could she, if she got elected, how possibly could she overturn that? How does she plan on doing that when her hands are completely tied? It's not a issue that she has control of unless she gains a majority in one of the other branches. I don't see how that can be one of your main running points when your hands are really tied on the issue.
Well, so there's two real reasons why those that may support that position would vote for Vice President Harris. Number one, you're right. It's not something that she unilaterally can do. She's going to need Congress, but the House, it looks like it's going to shift, and the Senate looks like they'll maintain their majority or it'll be close. If she gets all three branches, there's a possibility then, because there's so many people that respect Roe and that liked Roe, there's a possibility then that you can make it the law. And if it's the law, then you're protected against the Supreme Court, right?
Yeah, and I thought like I've heard like other ways being like thrown out that maybe she was speaking about expanding the Supreme Court, possibly expanding it to like more districts. So there's 9 currently, but there's 13 districts. So she wants to
to expand the court. Well, Biden came out.
I just heard that.
Biden came out. Listen, let me finish talking. Biden came out and said he supported some changes to the Supreme Court, right? An actual enforceable ethics code. What were the other one? Enforceable ethics code, term limits, and what was the third one? But not necessarily expanding the court. I haven't seen either Kamala or him come out and say they want to expand the court, which in any case can't be done without Congress, right? Like it could be your position. Like I could think, hey, personally for me, sure, let's expand the court to match the number of appellate districts or whatever, appellate courts. We can think that, but it requires like, what is it, like 2/3 vote of Congress or something?
Right.
Yeah, it can't happen without the vast majority of Congress on board.
The third part was the no immunity for crimes a former president committed in office was the third part.
Oh yes, that's what it is. He wants an actual amendment to the Constitution to change that would override the ruling that John Roberts made about presidential immunity.
Yeah, and like I agree. I do not think that that the Supreme Court should have lifelong terms. I mean, that is just absolutely outrageous in the first place. I think that definitely needs to be changed. But like I said, that's the one thing I really just cannot wrap my head around is how that is her main talking point, and her hands are tied on the issue. So I don't know why. I mean, to me, it almost seems like false promises. Like these people are going to get their hopes up. Like, oh, she's going to overturn this, and then when it doesn't happen, it's going to, oh well, she tried. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't know.
That's you recognize that's literally every president who has ever run for office promises things that require the Senate and the House, and that literally every single president has made promises that they weren't able to keep because they couldn't get things passed through the House and the Senate. So like that would be you holding her, like if you don't hold that standard for Trump, or you didn't hold that standard for Obama or Bush or Clinton, then you're creating a new standard that everybody else has failed. And Trump's going to have the same thing, by the way. Trump claims he's going to do a lot of things that he's going to need the help of Congress for, specifically the wall, right?
Yeah,
he can't do shit
like,
about the wall unless he gets funding. He's going to need Congress for that.
But that is the other thing. Right now, it's going to be the road is going to be paved much smoothly and easier for Trump because it's stacked in his favor. Can we agree on that?
I don't know about that, to be honest, because I felt like when the bipartisan border bill was negotiated, it was a time when we were all-time highs of people coming to this country, and those numbers have come down drastically, and they're trending down. So if this trend continues, by the time Trump's in office, I don't know that the Democrats are going to feel that amount of pressure to put a massive funding bill like this together for the border. And they may say, you know what, now we've got leverage. So now we want some more things that we want. We would like to use our leverage that we have over you to get some things that we want. I actually think it puts Trump in a worse position. The best bill you were going to get was at the height of the problem.
Well, no, I'm not talking about just specifically like the border bill and getting that one passed. I'm just saying getting things through any of his policies are generally going to be easier because it's stacked in his favor on the House and then
what is stacked?
The
Senate's controlled by the Democrats right now.
Yeah.
You can't pass anything.
Well, yeah.
You could pass every bill in the House. It doesn't matter. If your bills can't pass the Senate, it doesn't matter. They're not getting through.
Yeah, this is true. But I don't know. Like I said, that's just a question I had, and I just wanted to kind of get that answer and see like where y'all stood on it and what y'all's view on. Like I said, that being one of her main running points, and like I said, her hand ultimately being tied. That was really one of the things I was curious about, and just wanted to hear y'all's input.
I have never heard her specifically talk about the Supreme Court. Biden recently came out and talked about his position. I don't think she's actually running on that.
No. I'm talking about just the actual overturning of Roe v. Wade. Like that is her main thing that she's running on.
Yeah, I mean, if and when we have enough people in Congress, yeah, we should pass the Equal Rights Amendment. Recognize women. You know, we're not specifically mentioned in the Constitution. It'd be pretty great if we were.
And I had another question. Like when we're seeing what's happening when this power was given back to the people and given back to the local government, and we're seeing the things that are happening in some of these states, they're actually great. The people are actually getting out and voting, and these things are actually being overturned. Do y'all like that? Like what's happening right now in some of these states?
Yeah, I think what it proves is that an overwhelming majority of people want abortion rights protected. In every state where it's on the ballot, they have chosen to protect it. On every state where they're leaving it up to the legislatures in red states, they're making these insane changes to the abortion laws, just like prehistoric changes to the laws. So yeah, the will of the people is not being accomplished. The will of the people was not to have Roe overturned, and the will of the people certainly isn't what's happening in Florida and Texas and Idaho. But everywhere, like Kansas is a good example, very red state, like they passed protections for abortion. So it's a clear look into like how these parties operate. And what they want. Like Republicans are going completely against the will of the people, and Donald Trump can go out all day long and say this is what everybody wanted. They wanted to send it back to the states. Yeah, that's bullshit. Almost nobody was saying that, including on his side. The only people that were saying that was the Heritage Foundation, because they knew that was the only chance where they could outlaw abortions in certain states. But the majority of the people didn't want that.
Right, and that is the thing too. That's another big thing that people are talking about, like the Trump's against Roe v. Wade. That's the thing. When Trump was in office, he didn't touch Roe v. Wade. He never even touched it. But this was actually overturned on Harris's watch. Like that's the thing that people aren't
not on her watch, brother. It's not.
Well, but she's currently in office, and
the Supreme Court is it's a separate branch of government. Yeah, there was literally nothing Joe Biden or Vice President Harris could have done. Nothing. It didn't matter. They could have went and sat in the Supreme Court every day and shot spit wads at them. It didn't matter. They literally were powerless. They have no power over these decisions. None. And that's fine.
Right? That's power after this next election.
Well, if like their power is in two places. They can either legislate it, so they can have the law be passed through Congress, or they can expand the court. Those are kind of the two things that they could do to try and overrule that decision. But it's hard to say this happened.
You can't blame a president or a vice president for something that happens with the Supreme Court.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to like blame her. I'm just saying, like, right now you're currently in office, and
it happened on her watch. Like what we do know happened, and what Trump brags about is Leonard Leo right, who actually is responsible for those conservative justices, gave Trump a list and said, you can pick from these people, these justices, right? Trump takes credit for the overturning of Roe. He brags about appointing those justices, which were on a list that he got from the head of the Federalist Society, Leonard Leo. Like,
Yeah, but I'm just
it
saying.
sounds like you were trying to blame Kamala, but your guy is taking credit for it, so give him the credit.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like it happened. It was overturned in 2022. It was not overturned under Trump. That's the only point I was making. Like
Do you
it
need
was
me to
not.
go through it again? That Donald Trump himself is taking credit for it. He appointed the justices that they needed to overturn it from a list given
Yeah,
to
no,
him
I
by
understand
Leonard
that.
Leo.
No, I
When that
understand
comes
that.
to fruition and the ruling happens, doesn't matter. Like, he is the one that wants to take credit, but you're telling us on one hand, oh, let's not blame Trump. Like, it happened on her watch. Like, it's
Yeah. So
disingenuous
she's
to
no.
continue
I'm
to
just
say
saying
that.
she's currently in administration, and then her main running point on is
That's like saying
if she gets
anybody that worked
reelected.
in the federal government during that time, if you were employed by the federal government, it's your fault Roe was overturned. Happened on your watch. It makes no sense.
Right. So it also makes no sense if you get reelected, you're going to overturn it.
Listen, brother, this is what I think. This is the part that you're struggling. Nobody is running on overturning a Supreme Court decision. What she's running on is the Supreme Court made their decision. And by the way, we don't even know if she's running on this yet, but let's just hypothetically say that this is her plan. Obviously, she cares about this, but the plan is not to overturn the overturn. The plan is to make it the law of the land, which you do through Congress, or you expand the Supreme Court, and then somebody has to bring a case that gets all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has to hear that case and make a new ruling. So she, even if she runs, it wouldn't be on overturning it. She's powerless to do that. But because, and that's by design. Our government has three branches, and they're all independent, and they have checks and balances against each other. So if the Supreme Court makes a bad decision, the check that the executive branch has is they could sign a bill that was passed through Congress, basically saying like, okay, well, you guys said it was unconstitutional, but it's the law now. So now it's no longer unconstitutional because we're using our constitutional powers to write the law. The will of the people will be done, and now it's protected. Right. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
That is the roadmap I was looking forward to, like
Okay.
how to get to there. That, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that makes sense. Like how you broke it down makes sense. But like I said, there was just a real gray area that I couldn't wrap my head around. I'm like, nothing is gonna change. Like those people are in there for life unless something like that changes. But yeah, that's what I was looking for. That was the answer I was looking for.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank y'all for having me up. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, brother. Felice, I've never seen an eye roll somehow reach the back of
Yeah, I
somebody's head
said
before.
that. Like, apparently he can't listen when I speak because I said that in 3 different ways to him. And then he just repeated the same thing over and over again. And then for some reason, when you speak, he can hear.
It's that deep baritone voice. That's gotta be what it is.